Hi, in this video, we're going to be reflecting on part of trusting the process, and we're going to learn how to trust ourselves in an esoteric kind of a way when esoteric things happen in our world and we don't understand. Hi, today I'm going to be talking about learning how to trust yourself and not fighting so hard against the flow of energy that's trying to guide you and navigate you through life. I have a couple of experiences that I wanted to share that I've shared with a few people over the years, but it was something that I really had to, know my intuition and trust myself to realize that these things that happened to me actually were real and actually happened. One of them was several years ago, and I was driving on one of the streets where there was like a double turn lane, and I started to go, and there was a truck next to me, and I didn't see him. He was in my blind spot, but all of a sudden I feel like this whisper on my leg up on my thigh. So I kind of looked down at it and was like, what's that? And there was nothing there. What happened again? And as I did that, my hands on the steering wheel kind of veered me over off to the right. And I looked up, and this truck was changing lanes right in front of me. And so I was able to pull over a little bit further onto the curb and into the gutter area so that I didn't get hit. And if it wouldn't have been for that little wisp on my leg, the guy probably would have ran right into me and it would have been a big old wreck. And I've always remembered that because, even when telling people when something like that happens, when you have this whisper, you have this thing that happens to you, but it's not logical. If you have a good intuition and you really trust yourself, you're going to realize that that really was real and it really did happen. And another thing that happened to me was I had gotten a massage at a place here locally. And after it was done and I was standing in the room waiting for her, I looked over. The room was dark. The blinds were closed and everything. And there was a lamp sitting in the corner. And I looked over at the lamp and I saw these little things flickering on the wall, kind of like a fishing lure would in water when it's going down the stream, or that flashy kind of a thing. And I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And I, waited for a couple of seconds and I looked over again and it wasn't doing it. And she came in the room and we were talking about something. I think she got my card to pay or something. And then she left again. And so I turned around and looked at it again, and there was all this flickering over there again. And I had assumed that maybe it was the light, coming in from the windows, reflecting off of some hangy downy things on the lamp or something like that. But as I looked around the room, I saw that there wasn't any light coming into the room. There was no way for anything to reflect off of anything. And I was like, wow, that's really pretty. That's really cool. So when the massage therapist came back in, I asked her about it and she said, oh yeah, spirit guides are with you all the time. And I was like, well, mine must be pretty playful because, they just gave me quite the show. And that's something I will never forget. Another thing is, out in my backyard, there's a fence right outside my back door. And I had these plastic wind whirly things hanging on there that my mom had given my kids a long time ago. And I remember there was a storm one night and I went out there and one of them was missing. One of them was like completely gone. I looked everywhere for it because it was special to me. And the other one was gone also, but what I found out is it was on a nail and it had flipped over the fence, but it was still there. And in the meantime, when it flipped over, it caught this hanging planter that it had, so it didn't go crashing to the ground. And, anyway, I got that sorted out, so I went back in my house, and then I, went outside a few minutes later, and there that whirly thing was hanging there again. And I just thought, "Oh my gosh," I'm like, "I am losing my mind." But I thought, "No, I know it wasn't there." I looked and looked and looked and looked, and I told a couple of people about it, and they were saying, "Well, you sure? Are you sure you didn't look here or there, whatever?" And that's when it just has to take over. You have to trust yourself. You have to know, no, I know that's real. I'm not crazy. I saw that happen. I can't explain it, but that's the way it goes. And I was talking to a friend of mine, another friend of mine, and she said, when something like that happens to you, just say, "Oh, thank you," and then just kind of go on with your life, go on with the flow. the experiences they're having with life. Another situation I had was I had gone up Highlight. It's a recreation area by Bozeman, Montana, and we were hiking up these trails, and I would take pictures, and it's a really humid area up there. There's a waterfall, and I would take these pictures, but there would be these really weird rainbows and wisps and everything, and I just thought they were really cool. Some of them looked like little spirals going into the trees, like it was like a nature's own watering system with this moisture and these light rainbows that made up all these tubings and stuff in the trees. It was really cool. So it was actually 5 years after that, I talked a friend of mine into going back up there with me at the same time at the same place. And so we went up there and we were hiking, and then we took some pictures, and I had the same there were similar pictures with the rainbows and the weird wispy cloud things or whatever. And I always want to blame it on the camera. But my friend that was with me, she took pictures from the exact same spot, like a foot away, and hers didn't have anything in that. So I had talked to some friends of mine with the Body of Nine. I had been working with them on a few things as well. And they told me, they said, well, it's your energy. You have this certain kind of energy that is kind of making that happen or bringing that out. And so once again, I was like, oh, well, that's cool. And, uh, and so I forgot what I was going to say on my video, but to continue on with that, uh, there were four things there that if I wouldn't have known to trust myself and my intuition and to not really listen to the what the rest of the world was trying to tell me, I just by trusting myself, it gave me more trust. And knowing that things like that can happen, strange things that can happen, but if you know yourself, then people are gonna understand it. I do have some friends that do get that and have shared some of their experiences with me about things that had happened. So if you have any experiences that you want to share, you can go ahead and write them in the comments below, or maybe try telling a couple people if you haven't told them and just see what happens, see what they say. And so I'm going to be having some guests on sometime in the future that will be sharing their stories with us and the esoteric things that they've been through, any spiritual intervention or divine intervention, or the stories that they might have that have helped them trust themselves. Because that's what we're here to do. We're here to try to learn to trust ourselves a little bit more so that life is easier. If you like this video and you'd like to see more, hit the like button and subscribe. I will see you next time.